Good morning, everyone. This is Christina Clark. We'll begin momentarily. I'm just seeing a small group of people, which is great. This call is going to be a little bit different from previous calls because we're going to focus most specifically on preparations for the second learning session at the end of the month. So what we'll do is I'll cover a bit of topic, and then we'll come back at the end for some office hours, and I'll explain that as we go. So I think I'll begin, and we'll only be recording the first part of this session, the plenary session, and then I'll turn off the recording so that we can have a more interactive discussion. All right, good morning and welcome to this monthly coaching call for the HIV Continuum of Care Collaborative. My name is Christina Clark. I am the HIV Continuum of Care Collaborative Project Director and Quality Improvement Coordinator at the BC Centre for Excellence in HIV/AIDS. I'm very happy to be facilitating this fourth coaching call in a series of 12 monthly coaching calls that will occur from now until January 2015. The purpose of these calls is to provide collaborative participants with a space to share good ideas, find support through challenges, and connect with others to further our shared aims. First and foremost, these calls are meant to be relevant and useful, so we hope that you'll speak up to share your own ideas, challenges, and questions. As I mentioned earlier, today's call will be a little bit different because we are focused specifically on preparations for the second learning session at the end of the month. It is scheduled for Wednesday, May 28th, and will be occurring in person in Vancouver. I'll be giving a brief overview of some of the expectations and how to get the most out of the preparations. I expect this will take between 10 and 15 minutes, and after that I've reserved the rest of the time of the call for office hours. So I'll be staying on the line for any questions you have about preparations or anything else, and you can choose to stay on the line to ask questions. You can stay on the line to listen to others if you'd rather, or you can also take the time to be on your way to start working on your preparations for the learning session. All right, with that, let's get started. So learning session 2 is now just about 2 weeks away. In the next 15 minutes, I'm going to go over a few details, including the logistics and steps for getting ready for the learning session. And of course, at any time, please use the question box, it's called the chat box, in the bottom right corner of your screen. If you have any questions that come up, I'll come to that periodically if there's anything that pops up. And if I miss anything, we'll come back to that when the 15 minutes is done. So just a few details to start. The learning session is being held on Wednesday, May 28th. We will have light breakfast beginning at 8 a.m. and the program will start at 8:30. Lunch and snacks will be provided throughout the day and will adjourn at 4:30. The event is being held at the Hyatt Regency in downtown Vancouver. That's located at 655 Burrard Street. And for those coming from the airport or outside Vancouver, the closest SkyTrain hub is Burrard Station. It's right beside it, so that's an easy point to get to it. We're also happy to be accredited by the College of Family Physicians of Canada. Anna will be on site at the registration desk during the day to create a letter upon request to recognize your participation to be eligible for CME credits. If you need a letter of recognition for other certifying bodies, again, please let Anna know and she can set that up for you. If you're coming, sorry, I missed this slide. If you're coming from outside Vancouver, we do have a pool of resources available with some eligibility requirements in there. So if you're coming from outside Vancouver and you have questions about accessing funds for travel, please get in touch with myself and I can help you navigate that. Now here we go, the slide about the CME available. So there's 6.5 main pro M1 credits that are available. We can print you a letter on site. As well, if you have any other certifying bodies, we're happy to accommodate that as well. Now, all of what I've been speaking about is also laid out in the orientation package. This package has been sent out in a few communications, but if you've missed it, you can easily find it on the front page of the website or through this direct link above, which I can't copy and paste it, but we can include that into the chat box in a minute. When you look into the agenda, a few things stand out for the session. We're looking to maximize opportunities for interaction and opportunities to learn and share with each other. Plenary will be mostly reserved for team presentations. We'll have some skill building exercise. Every team will deliver a 3-minute presentation based on their storyboard, which will also be displayed for viewing throughout the day. There will be time for self-selected topic-based discussion and time for team planning. Faculty, as always, will be on site and available to provide coaching, so gather any questions you might have and make use of the coaching expertise in the room. Of course, because there are presentations, we want to make sure that you're prepared, so here's a few key dates for you. Firstly, while there is no deadline to register, we are encouraging everyone who requires travel to register early so that we can get it booked, today preferably. So if you're here representing your team, give a shout out to your team and make sure all the people that should be going are registered. You should have between 2 to 4 members of your team, depending on your team size, attending and bringing back what is learned to the team. Second, we are asking that all teams complete and submit their presentation materials for the 3-minute team presentation by May 20th. So that's just over a week from today. And I'm going to come back to the presentation in a moment. And third, we ask you to prepare and arrange all materials that you want displayed for your storyboard. Make sure to assign someone to print the storyboard and bring it to the session. Anna will be at the registration desk and will be able to help you to direct you to the area where you can post your storyboard for viewing. Of course, the last day here is May 28th, the day of the learning session, so that's the day that you attend and participate. So I'm going to talk a little bit more now about how to tackle the 3-minute presentation and storyboard. I'm wondering if maybe I'll just pause for a quick moment to see if there's any questions about any of those logistics or plans for the second learning session. All right, not hearing any questions. I will continue going through the material, but again, you can use the chat box if anything pops up. Okay, online you'll find the template for the storyboard. This is on the first page of the website. There's an orange button that you can click on to find it. And Anna, maybe if you can, I'm not sure if you can add the link to the chat box. I think what happens is it downloads when you click on it, so you may have to find that on the website. It's really easy on the first page that you land on. So the first slide of the template contains instructions to guide you through. There are 2 parts to the instructions. So the first part is to develop this template for your 3-minute presentation, and then the second is to make any changes, if you'd like, for the version that you will use to display, and that will be the storyboard version. So the template includes sections for your team description, your aim statement, a description of your population of focus, data and measurement, and include any progress so far, including changes you've tested or plans for testing changes, and a final page that prompts you to consider anything else you might like to attach. So we'll just scroll through a couple of the pages in the template. So firstly, the team description, who we are, team name, aim statement, describe your population of focus, share your quality data measures, so anything you have to this point, including data. So if you don't have anything just yet, what are your plans for collecting data? If you do have some data to share, post it right here for everyone to see. Okay, so I'm just going to come to the chat box for a minute, and I see that there's a question from Central Interior Native that they can't hear me. Is anyone else having trouble? Anna, maybe can you confirm if you can hear me? Okay, so
you're lying with star 6. Christina?
Yep, right here.
Okay, good.
Okay, so maybe, is it possible for those from Central Ontario Native to call in to the phone? Often when the sound cuts in and out, it's usually because of the internet connection speed. So there's a question from Gail. I've had difficulty in the past accessing the website. I'm wondering if you can email these templates. I can, and I have actually. So there's been 2 emails that have gone out with the template. But what I'll also do is I'll follow up with all the people who are on the call, and I'll send that template out right after the call. So coming back to the template, share your progress so far. So anything you've tested, any changes you've implemented, anything you've learned about your population of focus, any partnerships you've developed, tell us anything that you think you're proud of that is an important change for your team. And finally, a prompting slide for any tools or photos or templates you might want to include to share with other teams. Again, make this something that's fun, make it creative, personalize your storyboard. So coming back to the storyboard template, of course there's a lot of information that you would include in a storyboard, and too much certainly to cover in 3 minutes. So you want to make decisions about how you're going to focus your time for your 3-minute presentation. And think about some of the key things for your presentation, and then you can direct people to your storyboard to learn more. A good rule of thumb is 1 minute per slide, so plan to cover about 3 slides only, approximately. Generally, I recommend that teams focus their short presentation on aspects of their progress that they're proud of and that they consider to be part of their success so far, and focus a little less of your time on some of the details about your team setting and more granular details about your setup that others can easily reference by checking out your more complete storyboard. So focus on what makes your team unique and innovative. What are some of the key changes you'd like to share with others? If you think data collection has so far been your big breakthrough, tell us how you got to this point. So in summary, the 3 minutes, it's short, so focus your time on what makes your team different and some things that you consider to be part of your team's success. When you develop this template for the purpose of your storyboard, so the display, you can develop it as the template directs. You can add as much detail as you'd like and as much about your progress to help others connect with you and to learn more about your work. And I usually encourage people to also include contact information so that others that are viewing your storyboard, if there's something that they'd also like to learn more about, they can follow up with you. Okay, so that covers all of the content that I've planned for the call. I'll now open it up for questions, and I'll invite anyone to stay on the call to listen and ask questions. But I also want you to feel very comfortable to leave the call at any time to start working on your preparations. I will be on this call until 9:30, so you can always come back as well to ask questions. So I'm going to come first to the chat box, but you can use the hand. There's a raise hand button, and we can unmute your line if you have any questions. We need 3 slides for a storyboard.
For the presentation and the storyboard.
Poster?
Yeah, like what, yeah, last time, it was kind of like a poster, but not like, you know, like, it wasn't like so big.
Hey there, this is Christina. I think I can hear someone's line. I'm not sure if there's a question or there's just some background noise. I think it sounds like Jen Hawks. Sam's confirming. Because it's in an 8x10. So again, I'm happy to go over some content in more detail. If there's people who've joined late, I've just gone over the preparations for the second learning session at the end of the month. So I've gone through all of the logistics, where to find information, some key dates, as well as the storyboard template, and the same template will be used for your 3-minute team presentation. So right now what we've done is we've paused and I've opened it up for questions. If you want me to clarify anything or if you want me to go back and go through some of the material, I'm happy to do that. Of course, you can also go on, leave the call and start preparing if you'd like to use the time that way, or you can stay on with myself until 9:30 and listen for others who may have questions. Okay, so I just had a question about a few latecomers and asking me to explain the storyboard again. So I'm very happy to do that. Let me just back up a bit here. So there's 2 pieces to the storyboard. And first, you can find the storyboard at this link here. It's on the first page of the website. But we're going to follow up with everyone who's on the call and make sure that they get a template or a copy of that template via email. So it is a PowerPoint template, and what you'll do with that template is to create, firstly, a team presentation, and secondly, develop it with more content so that it can be viewed in some of the hallways of the learning session. So others will come and they'll interact with your storyboard. So you can fill this for the 3-minute presentation, you can fill in this template as you like. But I've encouraged everyone, because it is only 3 minutes, to focus on some things that they think to be part of their success so far. I usually recommend that you think about things you're proud of, some of the changes or some of the hurdles you've overcome, and to focus your presentation that way. Tell us something about what makes your team unique and innovative. What have been some of your breakthroughs? And focus less on some of the more granular details that you think people could more easily interpret by coming to your storyboard and looking at it. So you can create your presentation and send that to me by Tuesday, May 20th. That will be uploaded, and then every team member will have 3 minutes to present on some of the highlights from their storyboard. Now, the storyboard that will be displayed in the hallways, that will just be your more comprehensive storyboard. So you can complete this template with as much detail as you'd like and arrange any extra materials that you think complement your storyboard, so it includes photos, forms, or any tools you've used, and then assign someone from your team to print out your storyboard and to arrange all your materials to bring it to the learning session on May 28th. So the storyboard template includes this first slide as instructions, and in it also, it directs you to a few things that you might want to think about including in your comprehensive storyboard. So a team description, who we are, what's our team name, what roles do the members have, a brief description of your practice and program. Tell us something about your aim statement. And how would you describe your population of focus? Some teams might have more than one population of focus. Share any data or quality measures that you have so far. If you don't have any yet, then tell us about your plans for what you're going to measure. If you've got run charts, even better. Share as much of the data that you have. Share some of your progress. So what have been the changes that you've tested? What are the changes that you've implemented? Is there anything that you've learned or uncovered in digging through your data from your population of focus? And tell us more about some of the partnerships that have been important to you. You can also tell us about some of the plans you have for moving forward. So if you have an aim to begin offering testing, what are some of the changes you're going to put in place, do you think? Maybe it's that you want to adjust the clinic's hours. So what will be your PDSAs going forward? Attach any tools, photos, or templates that you might want, anything that adds some personality and some fun to your storyboard, add that as well. So hopefully that was clear. In summary, there's two pieces to this. There's the more comprehensive storyboard that will be on display. Add as much detail as you like. The 3-minute presentation, take a snapshot from the storyboard and tell us a little bit about what makes your team unique and special and what it is that you're most proud of. Okay, so hopefully that provides a really high-level overview of the storyboard and the 3-minute presentation. Again, we've got office hours right now, so feel free to ask any questions you have to clarify some of the content. Stay on or leave the call if you'd rather to begin your preparations. I'll be here until 9:30 to answer any questions. Okay, so Dana has a question about the data template. Can you tell me a little bit more about your question, Dana? And just while we're waiting, Anna's bringing up the file that you can download directly right now for the storyboard template. So Gail, in response to your question, the storyboard template's right there and you can download it.
Thank you, Christina.
You're welcome. So question from Dana, am I typing my question or speaking it? Looks like you're unmuted. And I hear someone else's line. I think maybe, Gail, your line might be open, so if I can just ask you to mute it. If you're on a teleconference, the mute is *6, or to unmute *6 again. Dana, do you want to try your audio? So Dana, I'm not hearing anything just yet. Anna, can you help to unmute Dana? Or let me know if you have done that. Okay, so it looks like Dana's going to call in. Okay, we'll wait for you, Dana.
Hi, Christina. Can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
So it's Gail calling from Pender.
Hey, Gail.
So we are a wee bit, bit behind in terms of organizing our registry. We actually have Mitchell and Jane coming today to assist us with that. But yeah, I'm just uncertain of how much we're going to have in place for the 28th.
So what I would recommend, if you're worried about having data, is that it?
Yeah.
Okay. So just tell us about your plans. Tell us how far you came after your meeting with the individuals that are going to help you with your registry. What do you plan to include on your registry? And anything else you can think about.
Okay. Okay.
Does that make you feel better?
Yeah. I'm anxious because we're behind, And we're also really challenged in terms of finding time to bring the team together.
Yeah.
So it's been a bit, it's been challenging.
Yes, it's a common feeling for sure. We are going to start planning some site visits, and I think Anna's been in touch with some of the teams. So hopefully we'll be able to work together to maybe develop some exercises that might be helpful based on where you're at and where you want to go.
Should I be in touch with Anna to organize a date for that? I really need almost 2 weeks, 3 weeks in order to organize bringing the team together.
Yeah, absolutely. So Anna will be in touch with you, or you can get in touch with Anna if you prefer. What we'll do is we'll look for something that's already a pre-established meeting for you, so something that's convenient for you. It might not be for another month or so.
Okay. And Anna, her contact is on the website?
Yep, or Anna, I'll just get you to, there it is, in the chat box.
Super. Thank you very much.
You're welcome, Gail.
Okay, bye-bye.
All right, Dana.
Hi, can you hear me?
I can. Go ahead.
Okay, great. My question is about like our aim statements that we're reporting on the narrative report template. Our second aim focus in regards to engagement and care and support is the details to that for us are we aim to know if all of our HIV positive clients in the AIDS Vancouver Island Positive Wellness Program are engaged in HIV care, because it's an ASO, not a medical program. And when I go to the data report form, I want to report on that aim, and yet where I see the engagement and care and support, I like linkage. No. Is more about newly tested positive clients that are engaged in care.
Okay. So what's your question?
So I would like to change the wording in the data report form to reflect our aim more accurately.
Oh, okay. Yeah, absolutely.
I can?
Yeah, and I can help you with it.
Okay.
The measurement set is meant to be useful to your improvement efforts. If you're telling me that, and I know your context, that you're not really a medical clinic, you're also a support organization. So the measures, if you need to redefine them a little bit so that they make sense for what you're working in and what your sphere of influence is, absolutely, I can help you with that.
Okay.
Or you can tell me what changes you need, and I can do it if you can't do it yourself.
Okay, so that's great. So I think what we're talking about here is under the population of focus 1.2 linkage.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll reword it and pass my idea to you and see if that works for you.
Sounds great. And if you need a little bit more time to talk through it, we can connect after this as well.
Okay, great. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Okay.
Okay, so again, we've just got some time for office hours right now. If you've got any questions about anything, or in particular some of the content we were talking about today was preparing for the second learning session at the end of the month. I went over all of the logistics, where you can find the orientation package and the storyboard template, and they're up on the screen right now available for download. The storyboard template has two purposes. One is to shape your 3-minute presentation at the learning session. The second purpose of it is to build it out so it's more comprehensive, and those will be on display at the learning session. So please feel free to ask any questions you have. You can stay on the line and listen to questions, or of course you can take off and you can work on your preparations for learning session 2. Hey, Dan, I see your question. Was curious how the teams are going to engage in the announcement that happened yesterday in testing for us all. Maybe we can get you to unmute if it's possible and share with us a little bit about your reflections. So I can't hear you just yet. I see that there's a little microphone beside you. Anna, do you know if we can unmute Darren? Okay, so Darren is unmuted. So it could be that you're on your computer. I hear someone unmuted. Darren, is that you? Okay, so Darren's you're on the computer. You'll phone in. So I think Darren's talking about the guidelines that were released yesterday, and I haven't done a lot of reading into it just yet, other than the announcement of routine testing being in the guidelines. I do know that after lunch we have time set aside for directed conversations, and what we'll likely do is everyone can self-select where they'll go in terms of which conversations they want to take part of, and you'll be able to do at least 2 different conversations. And the conversations will be focused on, and this is still draft, but these are very likely to be the topics. First is engaging First Nations meaningfully. Second is quality improvement fundamentals. Third is the focus on testing, diagnosis, and linkage. So that's probably where this will be more the center of conversation. We'll have engagement and care and support, and then, of course, adherence and suppression as another topic for conversation. So everyone will be able to come together, select which topics they'd like to take part in, and then we'll have facilitators on site to give a very brief overview and then to gather some ideas about how we can improve in each of those topics.
Hi, Christina. Can you hear now?
Hey, Darren. Go ahead.
Hi all, and good morning. Thank you all for joining the call. Yes, you've sort of answered that broader question, and I was just sort of planting that seed about how do we gear up our teams for that bigger testing rollout that we're all involved in, and sort of just to plant the seed of thought of how do we engage as an organization and as teams and not overwhelm ourselves in that thinking of, oh my God, how do we ramp this all up? As well, bringing into the bigger picture of who are our allies and who can we link with if we haven't already done so. Just sort of planting those seeds to think about in that bigger picture.
I think those are the really practical questions. So I think those are important, and hopefully those will be topics of discussion at the learning session.
Thank you.
Good ideas, Darren.
Thanks.
You'll be attending, right?
I'll be there for the morning and then have to leave for the afternoon session, unfortunately. But it's always cool to see what the teams are doing, where they're at, and for the overall sort of province overview. Coming from community, it's really important to have an idea of where we're all at in that bigger picture, because I take that back to Pacific AIDS Network, for those that don't know who I am, and share that, and then we broadcast that out to all of our AIDS service organizations so that they have an understanding of what's happening on the ground with the different teams. So thank you.
Thanks, Darren. And hopefully from the conversations that you'll probably miss because they'll be after lunch, we'll have a transcript of some of the ideas that came out. So hopefully they'll address some of the questions that you just spoke about.
Great. I look forward to reading those.
Okay, so just once more, we have right now some office hours. So if you have any questions about any of the content of the collaborative, or if you have some questions specific to the content that we covered today, which was preparations for the second learning session, go ahead and you can type them into the chat box, and we can also unmute you as well. Some of the stuff that we covered today were logistics for the second learning session, so the agenda and the orientation details are up on the website right now. They're also in the bottom left-hand corner of your screen. You can download that at any time. The storyboard template is also available for download, and it's up on the screen as well. And the storyboard template forms a foundation of two pieces to get ready for the learning session. The first is the 3-minute presentation. So use this to guide you in thinking about how you're going to craft your team's 3-minute presentation. What are you going to focus on? Think about things that make your team special, things that make your team unique. What are some of your successes from your participation so far? The second piece of the storyboard is to develop it more comprehensively and include details. These will be displayed throughout the halls of the learning session for other teams to look at, to engage with, to hopefully learn from. So those are the two pieces for you to prepare for. So again, I'll just pause. You can ask questions in the chat box. We can also unmute you at any time if you have any questions. So question from Monica, May 28th location for presentation is the Hyatt. That's correct, Monica. So the Hyatt Regency downtown Vancouver, it's located at 655 Burrard Street. The closest intersection is West Georgia and Burrard, if you're familiar with Vancouver. If you're coming from outside Vancouver, there's a SkyTrain station. The Burrard station is located really close by, so that's an easy point of travel. Hey, Denise, a question about who's traveling or covering travel costs. So there's a pool of shared resources that some of the health authorities have graciously contributed to fund travel for people that are outside of Vancouver. There's a few stipulations to it, and anyone who is looking to access that resource, it's not health authority specific, so we can look into where you're coming from and help set up some travel support for individuals. So if you do have any questions about that, you can contact either myself or Anna, who knows the ins and outs of that. Gail, question, are physicians compensated for their time to attend? There should be budget from your health authority to compensate physicians to attend. And what I would suggest is that you connect with your health authority leaders. And if you're not sure who to connect to, connect with me and I can let you know. You might want to speak to David Hall about physician compensation. I'm not sure who the new STOP Secretariat is in VCH, but David should be able to help out. And if you need to get in touch with him, I can connect you, Gail. Monica, do we bring our laptop for presentations? You can bring your laptop, but we will have a laptop set up, and we're hoping to receive every team presentation by May 20th. So what we'll do is we'll have them already uploaded and at the podium so that they're ready for you. If you get into a few snags and are late with your presentation, we're happy to accept at any time, of course. And even if you have a stick on the day, we'll try and get you in there as quickly as possible. Do you have a schedule for the day? Yeah, absolutely, Monica. So if you can see the orientation package, it should be in the bottom left corner of your screen. There's a PDF package, and it includes all of the details that I spoke about today and also includes a draft agenda or schedule for the day. So the day starts at 8 a.m. for breakfast, but the sessions don't start until 8:30, and then we go until 4:30 with an hour for lunch and time for breaks in between. So we have just about 5 minutes left for office hours. If there are any final questions, again, you can use the chat box, anything about today or anything about any other aspects of the collaborative. Of course, if you do have questions that come up later on, I'm available by email, and my email is included in the notes piece of the display for this webinar. Feel free to follow up with me at any time about any of the questions that, that may pop up a little later. You're welcome, Monica. All right, so we have 9:30. Thanks so much, everyone, for who's remaining on the call for your questions today. Again, at any time, if you need to follow up with me about any questions you have, please feel free to email me or call me at my phone number, which is on the website. All right, thanks again, and have an excellent day.